Now I'd like to announce that the debate is open. I might ask you questions and you are free to answer. I'd like to start with a very simple question for all of you very quickly. Now I imagine in your families you all have RRSPs. Mr. Giuseppe, Mr. Dion, Mr. Layton, RRSP as we say in English. Mr. Harper, Ms. May?
Some, yes.
Now, have you had a look at the performance of your RRSPs recently?
At them, but I think that in times like this you have to be careful. I have a diversified
but
fund.
Basically, here's my question.
But I think
are you concerned?
Jobs. Yes, we're concerned. I've listened to economists today saying that the financial crisis has an impact on the real economy in the United States. We've seen significant layoffs in the auto sector. It can't but have an impact. And I think the reason why Mr. Harper called this hasty election is because he saw this crisis coming and he didn't take responsibility. He shirked his responsibility. Instead of developing policies in the House.
Is already in debate mode, clearly. Mr. Harper, are you concerned? This question seems simple, but
obviously we are concerned. If you look at the United States, I said to Canadians 1 year ago, we are coming into an economic slowdown and a period of uncertainty because of the crisis in the United States. This didn't just start last week. This started back in August of 2007. But we've taken measures to ensure stability for Canada's economy. All of the analysts have observed how Canada's economy is stable compared to others.
One at a time, please.
There's a big difference between the economy of the United States and Canada.
So what you're saying is that we are
they're losing jobs. The U.S., people are losing their homes. In the U.S., banks are going under. It's completely a different story
Mr. Layton,
in Canada.
you wanted to add something?
And there's a choice. We can stay on the right path, which is with tax reductions, or we can have increased tax.
Mr. Harper, thank you very much. Please. Mr. Layton had raised his hand kindly. We'd like to keep this in order.
I'm concerned. I'm thinking of my mother. I'm thinking about seniors. What will happen to their savings, their pensions? Did you know, Mr. Harper, that workers in Canada have lost billions of dollars? Their pensions, the value of their pensions has gone down considerably, and you say things are going well, but the policies you're putting forward today are the same ones followed by George Bush in the United States. That approach is old-fashioned. We need to deal with the sector. I asked you for a meeting of all the leaders, and, well, this is the kind of meeting you prefer, but where's your action plan to protect people?
Mr. Layton, thank you very much.
Surplus in Canada. It's completely different.
Mr. Harper, please.
Surpluses?
Mr. Dion.
Are you so sure? What about
Mr. Dion would like to make a comment. Mr. Dion, please go ahead.
Mr. Harper, he inherited the best economic situation any other Prime Minister's had in Canada after the Liberal years. In 2.5 years, you've weakened this economy. Economic growth of Canada in the first 6 months of this year has been the lowest in the G8. We've lost 95,000 jobs from the private sector just in the month of July. 9 months in succession, productivity has dropped. Economic risk, you are the danger. You don't believe in the government playing a role in the economy. We have to have a government which takes a role in the economy to help people, and that's what we as Liberals can offer.
Mr. Harper, you'll have an opportunity to answer in a moment. Mr. Giuseppe, Ms. May, and then so that we don't have a four-way conversation, I'll ask a question of all of you. Thank you. Mr. Harper.
Excuse me. I just wanted to say that right now there are 800,000 more people working in this country than when we came into office. We've created jobs. We created jobs. We lowered taxes. We invested in the manufacturing sector. We invested in the forestry sector, in the automobile sector. You're proposing, Stéphane, you're proposing a tax increase with a new carbon tax. This is a policy which will destroy the economy right now.
Well, Mr. Duceppe and Ms. May, each of you will comment on that, and then I'll have a question, and then we'll come back to the environment after that. Mr. Dion, I promise you will have time for that.
You're talking about tax. The fact is that this year you're giving over $2 billion in tax gifts to big oil. Those aren't the companies that need that kind of help. You say you've reduced taxes for manufacturing, but in manufacturing no profits are being made, and until you make profits you don't pay any taxes. When I look at your minister, Mr. Flaherty's economic statement, page 30, he said that 5 of the manufacturing sectors have been technically in recession for 3 years, and they haven't had any profits. So all you need to do is give $2,300 per job lost in manufacturing and forestry, but what you've done is helped out big oil in Alberta. It's a double standard. You're ignoring Ontario and Quebec and benefiting Alberta.
Mr. Duceppe, would you like to respond straight away, or Ms. May?
Absolutely. This is not true. It's not true that we have given this money to petroleum countries specifically. Quite the opposite. We've lowered taxes for all business, for all individuals, and $8 billion in cuts for the manufacturing sector. A lot of these companies are making profits and have benefited from our government's policies. But in terms of funding for the petroleum, for the oil sector, the reality is, in fact, that this government has cut these liberal grants, liberal subsidies. You voted for this during the 2007 budget.
Yeah, but not in the last one, Mr. Harper.
Thank you, Mr. Duceppe. Ms. May, please.
In answer to your question, Mr. Bureau, as a woman, as a single mother, I do understand what economic measures are all about. It's very difficult to make it to the end of the month. But in the opinion of economists worldwide, in an OECD report, the statements are clear. Mr. Harper's policies are threatening Canada's economy. With the decisions he's made to favor the oil sector. I'm not saying this. These are quotes from an OECD report, a large European group and a group representing all industrialized countries. The criticisms of this report on Mr. Harper's policies are very clear. There is now some risk to Canada's economy because of the major structural changes, because of his concern with the tar sands, which has increased the value of the Canadian dollar, and as a result, we've lost manufacturing jobs. We've lost jobs in the forestry sector. We've lost jobs in the tourism sector. We have to have a shift, a change in the direction of our economy. Because I'm sorry, Mr. Harper, but you were not a good fiscal manager for our economy.
Well, thank you.